This is the long-awaited finals of my tournament that I played in with my Toxapex team. You can see here my opponent is Soulchuck. We have made it to the finals. Soulchuck, a very strong player, very kind. We had a good talk after the battle, so check them out. They've been popping off, won a tournament recently after our battle, so it's a pleasure of mine to show you the battle that we had. Looking at their team, I'm instantly nervous. As you can see from the last battle, I've been playing very carefully around a fake out or redirection plus King Gambit type of lead in those battles. Now the difference here is they have an ogre pawn, so the follow me sword stance got me really scared, especially after my loss to that's a +1, showing that follow me plus sword stance just 3 times in a row, letting them get to +6 is not good. So I let this lead so that I could taunt a potential follow me. They do, however, lead the fake out plus sword stance lead. Luckily, I'm covert cloak on my Grimsnarl, so I can still get a move off here, but I don't get a shelter off if they fake out my Gudra, which they do opt to do. They fake out, I Spirit Break, and this hands isn't as bulky as the one from my first round in Top Cut. So Spirit Break is a 2-hit KO, important to note. We get leftovers recovery. I decide to boost up here with shelter to, make sure that the King Gambit isn't doing too much damage to me, and I go for the Spirit Break again into Iron Hands. If they stayed in, that would have gotten a KO. So they do swap in to Landorus, intimidating me to make my Spirit Breaks do less damage, and they do Terra Dragon their King Gambit, keeping it safe from a potential giant body press. However, this does make them weak to a Spirit Break. However, I am intimidated, and if I Spirit Break a King Gambit, they're going to get a Defiant boost, so I'm automatically put in a tricky situation. I forget about the Intimidate here, and I believe that a +2 body press plus a Spirit Break. I know, I forgot about the Intimidate as soon as it came in. Not my greatest moment, but they go straight for the Stomping Tantrum. I throw a body press and a Spirit Break that way, giving them a Defiant boost. So now they're at +4, which is enough to KO my Gudra, so they get it out of the way. I was hoping the double up would KO, but I didn't do quite enough damage. So here I am brought to a interesting position. They could protect, but I don't call the protect. I don't fake out the Landorus. They get a big Stomping Tantrum into my Iron Hands. I crit them with Spirit Break, bringing them to decent HP, but now they can knock me out with Stomping Tantrum. So here I decide to make a play, swapping in my Landorus for my Heatran to take the Stomping Tantrum. I know that gives the King Gambit another Defiant boost, but they will go down to a Spirit Break. My Grimmsnarl, being Dark and Fairy, super resist Dark move, so I'm not too scared of a Sucker Punch coming that way. However, they do Call Vet this play as well. They Sucker Punch my Grimmsnarl, knowing that it's going for the Spirit Break here, but they also Stomping Tantrum my Grimmsnarl, not going for the Landorus bait. Luckily, my Grimmsnarl lives and is able to take out the King Gambit, but my Pokemon are low, and I've used like all of my resources trying to get rid of that King Gambit. So they do have their Iron Hands at half HP in the back, and a potential third Pokemon, well, a fourth Pokemon, not potentially, which is the Flutter Mane. They show it now, so here I have to hope that their Flutter Mane goes down to a Terra Blast. So I go for the Terra Blast, and I shoot up a Light Screen on my way down. They swap in their Iron Hands to have Fake Out Pressure next turn, as my Grimmsnarl will be going down this turn. So good play from them, putting their Fake Out on the field at the correct time. I Light Screen, I Terra Blast, and is it enough to knock out the Flutter Mane? It is not. It is bulky Flutter Mane. So the Dazzling Gleam takes down Grimmsnarl. Doesn't do much because of the Light Screen. So my Iron Hands gets to come in, I check my speed there, I realize this is my in-game Iron Hands that I use for Terra raids, not the cool spread that I have that is faster. So I realize I will likely lose a speed tie here, well, a potential speed tie here to their Iron Hands fake out, but I see it as my only play, as I believe I will go down to a Dazzling Gleam, but I underestimate the ability of Iron Hands. I lose the speed tie, so they fake out my Landorus, but I live the Dazzling Gleam on my Iron Hands. So I immediately know, oh, I made a mistake. I needed to double the Flutter Mane, or at least, you know, Drain Punch their Iron Hands there to put them in range of another Drain Punch. However, this does put me in trouble. I take out their Flutter Mane, but they are able to take out my Landorus, and they have low HP Landorus in the back, which will outspeed and KO me with a Stomping Tantrum. So the writing is on the wall. I don't even get to KO their Iron Hands. And this is going to be the end of game 1. So I lose game 1, and I'm like, oh no, this is the finals, and I'm down 1 game. But that does not break me. I've been down 1 game almost every set this tournament. I almost always have lost my game 1s in this tournament, which is crazy. That I made it to the finals while losing most of my first games, meaning that I am not a stranger to making a comeback, and I'm going to try to do it again. So I do still do the same lead, but I was thinking that they saw that I had a lot of King Gambit hate, so I make kind of a read here that they're not going to bring King Gambit, which is a great Pokemon, against my Sinistcha, and I think that I can win an end game with my Sinistcha if I can get a Calm Mind up behind a Light Screen. I think Sinistcha has great play into the Iron Hands, into the Ogerpon, and into the Landorus, which were the 3 Pokemon that I thought would be making more of an appearance in this game. And we do see they switched up the lead. They led Landorus Flutter Mane, which is a great lead. However, one that I am not unfamiliar playing with. I go for the Heavy Slam, and I go for a Parting Shot into their Landorus. Heavy Slam won't KO because of the Intimidate, which is why this lead is so powerful. But I get a ton of damage off into their Landorus. They don't Terra. They go for a U-turn. So because of the U-turn, and they crit me. So because of the U-turn, I was like, oh man, I should have Parting Shotted the Flutter Mane, just mitigate that damage. That's normally the play that I do when I see a Landorus Flutter Mane lead. But I really was thinking they would swap in their King Gambit if they had it there, or something. But they do reveal Heatran, which tells me, okay, I highly doubt that they brought their King Gambit if they brought their Heatran to the matchup. Here, I am trying to determine if a U-turn will knock out the Flutter Mane. I go for a Shelter. I go for the U-turn, but luckily the pressure is great enough. I think the U-turn would have been close, but being double resisted, it might not have KO'd, but fortunately they preserve their Flutter Mane, Terra their Heatran, fearing a Stomping Tantrum. So I force the Terra there. I also Terra my Goodra, as I believe Heat Waves or Earth Powers will be coming out at me. And I just want to start to mitigate that damage. I U-turn into the Iron Hands. I bring in my Grimmsnarl. I know I can act freely next turn because of my Covert Cloak. And they are Life Orb Heatran, so they take damage every time they hit me, and I'm healing damage. So I start at this point playing to, okay, let the Heatran take a lot of damage, and we'll just keep ourselves as healthy as possible and set up for a good board position to end game while they take themselves down. So I set up a light screen, knowing that that will allow me to live this Heat Wave from the Heatran, still have my low health. And now I'm thinking this is a good time. I don't need my Landorus for anything really. Goodra can wall their physical attackers at this point because I've gotten Shelters up and the Flutter Mane's at low HP. And I've got a and I can get a light screen up. And I have a light screen up, so I'm not too scared about the Flutter Mane damage. They already Terra'd their Heatran, so they can't hit me with a Giant Terra Moonblast, for example. So I do Parting Shot the Heatran, lower its damage output, bring in Landorus to take the Heat Wave and go down. And this way, I have Light Screen up. The Heatran has been had its special attack lowered, and their Iron Hands is on the field, which can't do anything. Honestly, a little bit of hindsight, shouldn't have gone for the Life Dew there, because I do bring in my Sinistcha here, and that was the ultimate plan there. So I should have set up another shelter, but it honestly doesn't matter. The board state is about the same. I have the shelters that I need. So here, I am not scared of the board state because the Heatran's special attack is lowered, and I have a light screen up, so I do just start setting up here with my Sinistcha. I believe that they're going to go for a Heat Wave, which they do, and they do connect, and it doesn't even take me down to half. So they, again, start losing their own HP from the Life Orb, and I Calm Mind and Life Dew. So basically, I'm keeping my Pokemon healthy, and I'm keeping their defenses high. So now their Heatran is getting scared. They realize they can't mitigate, or they can't stop what's happening with this board by just Heat Waving. So they do swap out to reset their special attack into their Iron Hands, and the U-turn, bringing it right back in. I still get one more Calm Mind here, and I still heal myself up with Life Dew. So now they have Fake Out Pressure, but they can't Fake Out my Sinistcha, so no matter what, I can get a Matcha Gotcha off this turn. I go for the Life Dew in case they don't fake me out. Just, again, keep myself healthy. The Matcha Gotcha will also keep myself healthy. Here, they go for a little bit of a strange play, but it makes sense to me. They protect, and they Fake Out. And this, normally Fake Out Protect is like the bad play. But here, it makes a lot of sense. They were burning my last turn of Light Screen, and not allowing my Sinistcha to get health in the process. So it makes sense. My Light Screen wears off. So now the Heat Waves will be hitting harder, but I do still have 2 Calm Mind boosts and a Citrus Berry, so I'm not worried. The Heat Wave does a lot with a Life Orb, but I heal up with my Citrus Berry, and I heal up even more with my Matcha Gotcha. Basically back to full. You can see the Heatran goes down to 1 HP, and I also keep myself healthy with Life Dew. They doubled with the Heavy Slam, and I still end the turn with quite a bit HP. The Heatran will go down to 1 hit to their Life Orb, so I don't need to worry about targeting that down. They do go for the Heat Wave. They are taken out by their Life Orb. No, Heatran is gone. Matcha Gotcha doesn't KO the Iron Hands, but it does burn them, which is even better. So Heavy Slam does near nothing. Life Dew keeps me healthy. I'm at half HP. Flutter has to come in. They're at low HP on both of these Pokemon. I still have a like 9 HP Grimmsnarl in the back, so I can think about switching, but I'm like, I might live their Shadow Ball with my 2 Calm Minds, but who are we kidding? This is a Choice Specs Flutter main, but I live on 9 HP! A roller coaster of emotions. I did double in case the Shadow Ball took me out, but it did not, so the Heavy Slam gets redirected into the Landorus. I shelter here. I go for a Fade Away Matcha Gotcha in case they let me live, but they do just Fake Out Rock Slide. Gonna have to flinch me and crit me, but the Iron Hand is burned, so even flinches and crits won't do it here because the burn takes out the Iron Hand. So it is just a poor Landorus locked into Rock Slide against my very bulky, sheltered up Goodra. I just start going for the body presses here, and Parting Shot to rub salt in the wound, make the Landorus do even less damage. And I'm ending the turn at full HP with my leftovers every turn. They missed the Grimmsnarl with Rock Slide, and it is over. Game 2 goes to me. I'm making the comeback. I'm going into game 3 in the finals. Here, it's... Oh man, the pressure is on. What a set of Pokemon. Going to game 3. Now, I am scared again that, okay, they didn't bring their King Gambit, and it worked out for them game 1. It didn't work out for them game 2. So they're definitely bringing King Gambit this game. Again, I'm worried about that Ogerpon, the redirection. So, side note, typically my lead against this type of thing is Iron Hands Goodra, when there isn't an Ogerpon, so that I can fake out Shelter, or, you know, fake out their Swords Dance, their King Gambit, while they fake out my Goodra type of thing. So it's a neutral turn. But again, I'm worried about that redirection. I feel like I need to lead a potential taunt to just not let the King Gambit take off. And they do lead Iron Hands King Gambit back to game 1, but I lead my Grimmsnarl plus Toxapex, thinking that if I can trap them in, then I will be okay. So I don't think that they will fake me out because I have Baneful Bunker pressure to poison them, but they don't listen to me. They fake me out anyway, they keep me honest, they don't get poisoned. They have fake out Swords Dance, so I am not looking super hot. The King Gambit is getting boosted. The good news is I know that they can't switch King Gambit in to take a parting shot. So I can freely go for that if I feel. I do Baneful Bunker correctly here, calling that they will Wild Charge. I Spirit Break their Iron Hands again. And they kowtowed, they doubled this slot, anticipating either I'm going to switch or I'm going to Terra, but I Baneful Bunkered, and they go down to the poison as a result. So, we do have a boosted King Gambit, but we did get rid of their Iron Hands. But now, everything that I was worried about, they have their Ogerpon. They brought the redirection this time. Notably, I didn't bring Glandorus to this match because I did think they would lean into the King Gambit. But I did think it was going to be in the end, which is why I felt fine. I do Infest and Taunt the Ogerpon, so I can bring in my Iron Hands. I'm just thinking, okay, I need them taunted so they can't redirect, and I need my Iron Hands in safely so that I can go for Drain Punches. I do Parting Shot, just lowering the damage on the Ogerpon. And I do bring... Oh, I don't have my Iron Hands in the back. Even worse, I brought Sinistcha. Which is not going to take the King Gambit moves very well, but it does take the Ivy Cudgel well. And my Toxapex goes down. It is all on the Goodra at this point. Grimmsnarl doesn't do much. I go for the Matcha Gotcha, hoping for a burn. And I go for a Shelter, boosting up my defenses. It's kind of looking kind of hopeless. I don't have my Iron Hands this game. That's my best answer to this stupid King Gambit that is boosted. They swap in their Flutter Mane, resetting the Taunt, and they Terra Dragon so that they don't die to a Body Press. Now I go straight for the Matcha Gotcha. Do I get a burn? I don't get a burn. It's hopeless. I get my Shelter defense boost, however, and they Kowtow Cleave, take out my Sinistcha. So now we're down to our last two Pokemon. Grimmsnarl will go down to the Flutter Mane. However, I do utilize my Terra Steel Grimmsnarl here, set up a light screen. And I gotta make some calls here. They can switch their Flutter Mane into Ogerpon here, anticipating my Heavy Slam needing to come that way. I actually double. I don't light screen here because I anticipate the Ogerpon is coming in. I do, however, Steel Terra. Sorry, my voice is getting tired. But they protect. My double up is in vain. Now they have their redirection, so I just taunt and I Shelter again. However, if I taunt And now I've Terra'd, so I am neutral to my dark attacks. Or to their dark attacks. They get taunted. And my defenses are boosted. But their attack is boosted. Oh no, Grimmsnarl is gone. So here is the situation. They can't redirect the body presses from the King Gambit. Right? So it seems very clear that I'll be going for a body press that direction. So I know that the Ogre Pawn only has grass and water attacks. They aren't gonna... The only thing they can hit me with is Ivy Cudgel, because their grass moves would boost my attack with Sap Sipper, and I know they won't do that. So I actually call that they would try to protect King Gambit there, but they don't. Here, you saw me instantly lock Heavy Slam into the Ogre Pawn. I have all the confidence in the world that because they didn't protect last turn, and they can't redirect, and now my defense is at +6, that they're going to protect King Gambit and swap in their Flutter Mane. They don't protect King Gambit, but they did swap in their Flutter Mane. I Heavy Slammed their Ogre Pawn slot, knowing that that would happen. And we live the Kowtow Cleave. They're boosted. And here, now they have Spiky Shield pressure. They have Protect pressure. I go for a Life Dew. They have Follow Me pressure. They Spiky Shield. I called the turn correctly. Yet again. Well, I guess the correct play would have been Body Press the King Gambit, because now they're boosted even more. Swords Dance. So now I do Body Press the Ogre Pawn. It does go down to my +6. And now they've got Kowtow Cleave. It does so much damage, but I am faster than them. And I am at +6 defenses. And here, I Body Press. They don't go down. They Kowtow Cleave, leave me at 3 HP. I'm on 14 HP. But one Body Press will KO them. But one Sucker Punch will KO me. It's Sucker Punch mind game time. Oh my goodness. So you see, I lock into Body Press, calling that they're going to call... I lock into Life Dew. And... they Sucker Punch. I got it right. I got the call correctly. And I Life Dew'd. And here... I believe that I will live the Sucker Punch now. So I go for my Body Press. And if, you know, they Kowtow Cleave, then I win. But they Sucker Punched again. Leave me on 3 HP one more time. And Goodra takes the win on a sliver of HP. Somehow we took down the King Gambit there. Boosted from turn 1. Stuck on the field the whole time. We lost our Pokemon early. A clutch Heavy Slam call on the Flutter Mane switch in to win me the battle. And that is how I won a tournament with Toxapex. Thank you all for watching. I apologize that I didn't get this video out sooner. I've been preparing for San Antonio Regionals, and I have joined my own draft league because someone dropped out. So all of that, my San Antonio team and my draft league videos are coming to the channel soon. Hope you're looking forward to them, and I will see you next time.